Hello, friends. I am so glad that it looks like everything's working great today. I know in the chat, some of you said that you're having some glitches, but we're going to just work beyond that because we do not need any glitches in our lives tonight, right? Last night was enough glitch for the while of this. So I am Stephanie Kirk, AP Language and Composition teacher from Maryville, Tennessee. I am teaching at Heritage High School, and we are quarantined, much like you guys are. It's glitching. Can you tell me what you mean by the glitch? And I will get right on that. Tell me what this glitch is. So I am going to run it through Nearpod today. Okay. You guys you're scaring me. Okay. I'm going to send the message. It's glitching. Hi there. I had so much fun with you guys last night. I was telling our team about how great it was. Okay. Can you tell me what the glitch is that you're saying? No volume. Uh-oh. I'm texting right now. A few glitches. Some people hear me, some don't. Can you guys see me? Last night, some of you could see me and some of you couldn't. Let's see. Well, we'll see what happens. How about that? We'll keep going. Visual glitches. Eek. Okay, well, we'll just keep going and we will see what happens. I'll sit really still. Does that help? Okay, I'll be super still. That's not going to happen, y'all. I'm way too animated. Okay, I'm going to try that. All right, so I've got a setup today, and we're going to actually look at our Nearpod. And to be honest with you, last night we did have a bit of a failure, if you will. Not like our fault. We tried reaching out to get it fixed and we couldn't get it fixed and worked out. So today is kind of our redo from last night. So what we're going to do is go through our lesson. And I actually made some changes after talking to you guys. And there was a little bit more time between our meeting with College Board, our webinar, and with you guys. So hopefully that kind of gave some time to work it out for us. So if you are in my Nearpod, I got a couple people in here. I'm going to go ahead and see about putting that link down there for you again, just in case. And if you guys will help me in that little chat, we got our little overview and our update down here. And we'll get started. Okay. Now let's see. I did report that you guys are having some glitches and can't see me. So we'll see. I got it right here. We'll get right on that. So, are you guys super excited? I absolutely am. I love my opportunity to hang out with you guys and talk to you all. And so just to kind of get started and let you see what we're looking at, these are the strings. So quick question was, what do the Nearpods do? We're trying so hard to make this happen. Okay, so the thing about the Nearpod is I have some links and some resources, and I'm going to send them out to you, and I'll put them in the chat as well. So if you're more comfortable with that, it's totally okay. But I have so much that I want to give to you. Plus, it allows us to have some interaction. So if you want to join on the Nearpod, you can. It's great. It's fantastic. I got it running over here on the screen. But you don't have to. You can just follow the slides if that makes you more comfortable. But if you are on the Nearpod, on the top, you can click the little button with the arrow down, and that will let you take notes, and that will give you a copy of all of these slides from tonight and any notes that you take on those slides. So it'll be super exciting. Okay? All right. So lots of things coming up on the weekly calendar for us. Everybody's there on those live for free. Of course, you can follow us on social media. We are at Fiveable with our little sign there on that. I'll give you mine at the end. I'm also on Twitter as well. So our overview intention for tonight is I'm learning what to expect during testing, which is totally new again, and what I can do to maximize participation in this Cram session. So our first goal is to explain the structure and the organization of the AP Lang test. Did you guys get your email from Amanda yesterday? Can you give me a thumbs up on that? Yeah? Yeah? Anything? Sweet. That was fantastic. I love how fast she put that out there, y'all. She cares so much. It's amazing. Really, the whole team is brilliant, but I just want to make sure that you guys saw that. So if you didn't see it, check your email. Victor, she sent out, the question was what happened? Amanda sent an email that was like, hey, here's what you need to know about testing. So it'll be great. But just in case, I got the link. Okay, you did see it. Great. All right. The next one is I can create a plan to fully utilize the Fiveable crams. As we talked last night, the normal time for the Fiveable Lang cram is now going to be Thursday nights at 9 p.m. So today is kind of a do-over from last night. And we actually let the people who are in the chat last night decide when we were going to do it. And so that's how we ended up right here, right now. So the last piece that we're going to look at tonight is really setting up the foundation, not just of the AP Lang course, but also of how we're going to run this cram. So the last piece is that we can analyze the rhetorical aspects of a given text. Now, I have aspects in capital letters here because it stands for something, because of course you don't have enough mnemonic devices in your life. So let's get started, shall we? All right. So test overview, College Board live lessons, give you the resources there. And then I go over the outline, and then we're going to look at the text for this week. We got this. Right. So it's going to be an open note, open book test for you guys. It's going to have, we've so got this together, right? I mean, like, it's completely different, but we're all in it together. So it's great. But they were very, very, very clear that there's going to be a very strict plagiarism policy. So although it is open note, it will be on your computer. You're going to have your resources around you. If you have any indication of plagiarism in your paper, they will report that to the colleges. Okay. So it will stick with your scores. So don't do that. Don't be dumb. Don't be dumb. Okay. Now it is going to be one FRQ, but it's going to be the rhetorical analysis. And you know that one is great. Is it not? Tell me it's great down there. How do you feel about the rhetorical analysis? Is it like winning the lottery? It could have been synthesis. Okay, I saw someone say it's your worst one. You know what? Conveniently, that is the one that my students have always done the best on. So we are going to get you there together. I promise it's going to be great. Wait, what is that? So FRQ2, the rhetorical analysis, is the one where you have a text and you go through and you figure out what is the purpose and what is the message. And then you identify the strategies by which the writer communicates that. So yes, we will get there. Synthesis pretty much is a DBQ. I'm with you on that. It is online. It is going to be 45 minutes. Now, they did tell us there would be a timer on your screen, but if you disable the timer, like you decide it's too stressful or a distraction, or you want more room on your screen, then you have to watch your minutes on your own. Okay. So they said that if the test is not submitted within the time window, it will not be scored. So I have no idea what this format's going to look like. But I would say do not turn off the timer. Okay. Just don't do it. We're going to get through it together. I see everybody's kind of freaking out about this for a little bit, but we're going to do it. Okay. I got you. Hey, listen, this test only covers units 1 through 7, which is great. So, then the other piece would be the rubric. I don't know if you guys see that. Do you see this? We just have a comment. If you're still having some issues, click get audio and video help underneath the time, and then click on compatibility mode. So hopefully that helps you. All right, it is going to be the same rubric. So I had a couple of people last night who were like, can we talk about the rubric? We will talk about the rubric. I promise we will. But we're going to start with the foundation first and then move forward up to that rubric. So with that said, your essay is going to be read twice. So if you keep that in mind, then that is going to help you out. I think, I'm not sure if they're going to double that score up or what. We'll have to see what that looks like kind of as we go forward. Okay. So questions on that? Let me make this a little smaller. Whoop. I think my mouse is possessed. I was trying to make myself smaller and the screen that you were looking at bigger, and I did the opposite. Okay, here we go. How about that? Does that work for you? Okay. So I have for you a web page. Now on your computer, you can click open it and it'll open in a new page. So that should help you out. You got it? Okay. So this is the new updated website for you to look at with the testing information on it. I feel like it's important for you guys to have access to these resources. So this website is a very powerful tool for you because it's going to give you everything you need. And I believe it's going to continue to update. So think about that. Now, I don't know about you guys. I feel like most of us are not going to school right now. So let's see, Rachel, if you would like to join us, you can click this link. Let's see. So if you are not in school, your teacher has access to AP Classroom. And so of course you can reach out and ask for that. But it's also very helpful for you to be able to have these resources on your own. So I'm a huge proponent of having everything you need in your hands and putting yourself first for your education. So out until the 15th, we'll see how that goes. All right. So this gives you the resource. It just kind of goes through and talks about it. They give you the timelines and all of that. You're very welcome, Rachel. What we're looking at is May the 20th for our test. And then it gives us a lot of stuff about like how to do open notes tests. And I think we're all going to need to take the time on this to go through it and really process it. So questions on this one? May the 4th. Everybody in our chat over here is telling us how long we're out. Yeah, here's what I'm going to say. Life lessons with Kirk right here, okay? So I have a friend who teaches in China, and we talk regularly, and she said to me before we were out at all, she said, the worst part of this is it's all coming in like 14-day increments. And she said, so like we were supposed to go back on this day, and then we all got excited about it, and the kids were kind of bummed, and then it got extended. So now it's 4 weeks in, and then we started getting kind of tired of it, and then it was 6 weeks in, and then it was 8 weeks in. And she was like, and they just extended us again today. And the worst thing is we were all looking forward to it. And she said, so now every single time that we look forward to it and they tell us it's another week, it's the most devastating thing. So I have told my students, and I'm going to tell you guys the same thing. We're going to go back when we go back, and you guys are going to go back when you go back. But I'm not going to let myself get worked up about when I go back because, well, I'm sad, and I'm sure you guys are too. And we're all going to be different people. We're all going to be better people when this is over with. So take care of yourself. Take care of your mental health. Take a moment. You have spring break next week. We had spring break too, but here we are. So, okay, you got me. And I'm sure your teachers have something for you online too, right? Yeah, this is the least fun spring break we've ever had. You're with me on that though. All right, so for our College Board live lessons, can you give me a sign in the chat? Like, where are you all? Are you watching those College Board live lessons? Anybody? No. A couple? Okay. That's cool. Hey, listen, if you want to watch them, you can watch them. I think it'll help you out. If you're not watching them, that's also okay. If your teacher is requiring that you watch them, I see that there. I do see that some of you guys are saying that it doesn't go over 1 through 7. So the lessons were set up to cover units 8 and 9 first, and then to go back and address the skills from 1 through 7. So I think there's going to be some benefit to it, but I'm also watching it. And then any of the tips that come from them, I can build in here too. So that'll work. Yeah, I think it's helpful to have them and to look at the website. Okay, so College Board, you have a couple of different presenters. That's going to give you some perspective, and I think that's a benefit. So the question is there any point in watching these videos until it goes back to Unit 1? I'm going to tell you that you're going to get out of it what you're going to put into it. So if you're only in it for the AP exam credit, maybe not. But I am like so passionate about words and meaning and rhetoric and argumentation and how you all are going to fix this messed up world we live in because you're going to know rhetoric. Like, I say yes, but that's just me. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Victor said they're recursive skills, so it really just applies to everything else. I love that. You're going to get what you put into it. Okay. Now, it does start with the uncovered materials, and then it moves to the tested content. They do have linked assignments, and they have linked materials for you. Now, I don't know about your time, but it is daily at 3. So, like some of our students were telling me yesterday that they have like streams and stuff that they're doing with their school. So I don't know what that looks like, but I think it's a valuable tool to have for you. And I think it's such a valuable tool for you that I actually have given you the link to the video. So I'll give you that. It's on the Fiveable when you go in there, and then I'll give you that as well. So, of course, we're going to talk about tonight's thing in the next few weeks between now and your exam on the 20th. So your Lane Cram is with me, and I am Stephanie Kirk. I'm on Twitter at Kirk's Corner, and we're going to be Thursdays at 9 p.m. So I have tons of resources for you. I'm going to update with every single official AP release. I want you guys to have everything that you can possibly have for this very difficult and very challenging situation. And I want to make it as fun and lighthearted and interactive as I can for you. So this is me. I'm totally animated. All right. So what does this look like? Now I have the outline of the first ones here for you. Is using the internet? Yes, it is 9 p.m. Eastern. I should definitely put that in there. I am like so Eastern though. I'm sorry. I'm in East Tennessee, so in my brain, I only hear Eastern time zone. And then I see the question, is using the internet allowed? So if you could just give me a little bit more about your question, I'll be happy to answer it. On the AP, absolutely, yes. You're going to have a secure platform of some sort to go into, and you're going to have the opportunity to practice what that looks like between now and the test. So they don't have a date for when you're going to get to practice that. And we don't know what that looks like yet, but you will get to practice it. Trevor Packer himself said it. So, all right. So here's our outline. Tonight, we're looking at how to maximize participation in the Cram. We're going to look at some very basic foundational skills, and then we're going to jumpstart into next week. We're going to learn about how claims are built by supporting assertions with evidence and intentionally structuring the line of reasoning. Now, I realize that sounds a lot like argument, and so we can... Yes, it looks like you will be able, the question is, so to be clear, will we be able to use the internet? Yes. In fact, on that website that I gave you a few minutes ago, that link actually tells you their advice for how to approach an open book, open notes test. So you can do that. I would just be very careful and very hesitant. I'm not sure that I would do that. Just to kind of sidebar into that, I was really thinking about it with my own students, my own class. How would I handle that? I really think that I would create notes from what, like, I think rhetorical analysis should be. I think I might have an outline for my paper with me, but I would not look up too much on it because, first of all, the first source that you find, what if you look it up and it gives you the absolute wrong purpose because it's a student's paper? I'm not willing to risk that, you know? Or you let somebody else's analysis sway yours and then it takes you down the wrong place. So I don't know. I kind of feel conflicted about that. I'm actually advising my students not to look up the text. And I do think it would take too much time. So I don't know. Just my teacher advice. I'm sorry if that's not what you want to hear, but that's all I got. Okay, so anyway, April 9th, it does look like we're going to look at argument, but the reality is that as you write your paper, you are producing an argument too. So we are going to look into that and just kind of look at what it is. We won't go much into common topics or modes of development, but because of the fact that it's rhetorical analysis, common topics and modes of developments are the things that writers use. So we're going to look at that as well. And then on the 16th, I'm learning about how authors intentionally use rhetoric and elements of style to achieve the intended purpose and to create audience movement. So we're going to go back over the rhetorical aspects, look a little bit more at chunking a text, identifying the what and the why and the how. And then when we talk about what they're saying and what they're doing to create that meaning. So I think it's a pretty good outline. So let's move on because now that's all of my opening stuff and we're ready to get to today's lesson. Are you ready to get with it with me? Yeah? Okay. So those of you who saw it on Fiveable, I did upload a few resources for you and I just want to make sure that you have them because our goal, our success criteria for tonight is I can analyze rhetorical aspects of a given text. Okay? So with that said, one of the resources that I had up there for you were the worksheet guide. Dun, dun, dun. Here you are. So what this does for you is it just kind of takes you through the rhetorical aspects. I go straight to aspects. Anybody give me a thumbs up if your teacher does like Space Cat. Anybody got a Space Cat love out there? Everybody loves kitty cats. They're super cute, aren't they? I see that. Sierra, it is located on the Fiveable resource, but I can give you the link right here in the chat. Make sure I'm giving you the right link because I have another link here in just a minute too. Put this one over here for you. You use soaps and soapstone. So this is essentially the same thing, but I wanted to really kind of break it down. And my class, I adopted the new units. So it was optional for all AP Lang teachers this year to adopt the new units or to not adopt the new units. And I decided to do that. And so this has been designed based on the new units. So this is kind of the guideline for you. So the first time that you go through the text, I want you to look at the analysis of the aspects with just the prompt, okay? Like just the prompt, because they try to give you as much as they can. And you'll notice that with some of the newer texts as well. And then after you read the text, I want you to try to use a different color ink and fill out the rest of the chart, because I want you to start to see that you're actually going to get a lot of the aspects from the prompt itself, and you're going to start to develop a little bit more. And those of you who have been watching the College Board lessons, you'll see that the College Board lessons are going to kind of help you out there. So, poetic choice of the prompt. Okay, so true story. When I was first approached about doing this cram, I was like, these are some of my favorite prompts. And so this prompt was 100% chosen in advance of this. And I actually debated whether or not to change it. But then my go-to to change it was the Abigail Adams prompt. But then College Board was using that in their video. So then I went back to using this one. So, but my thought was it gives you a little bit more of the occasion and the exigence. So. So that is our prompt that we're going to be looking at here. So the first thing that you need to be able to do is to identify and describe the components of the rhetorical situation. And this is straight from College Board, okay? Unit 1, Foundational Skills, 1A. This is what you got to do. And I love that they give us the colon here. Exigence, audience, writer, purpose, context, and message. So you'll note that I gave you aspects, right? And you kind of see that here. Now, I do change a few words, but I couldn't have a mnemonic device that didn't have a letter for everything, right? So with that said, quick question. How do you feel about your ability to do this? How do you feel about your ability to identify and describe the components of the rhetorical situation? What is exigence? I got you. It's on here. I promise it is. Okay, so maybe are you always wondered how you incorporate the rhetorical situation? Yes, we're going to look at that today. So quick question about those of you who are asking about exigence. So have you not mentioned it at all in your classes? Excellent. I'm so glad you're here with us tonight because exigence is super important. So let me ask you this. Why are you here tonight? Why did you decide to do this? Why are you here tonight? I'm sorry. It should be so much more than that. Okay, to learn how to start your essays. Okay, to improve your skills. Okay, why are you here tonight instead of any other night? Okay. So what you guys just did is you essentially gave me your exigence. It's the thing that moves you to action. So the action piece here is your exigence. What? I did that. You're welcome. Full circle. All right, here we go. So we got a couple people who didn't kind of say where they're at, but these polls are very helpful to me because I got you. These polls are very helpful to me because I like to adapt based on what you guys need. So those of you who have been a part of my streams in the past, like it's very important to me. So it looks like we need a bit of help here, and that's okay because we're going to do it. And I think exigence is probably the one that really made it a little bit confusing for you. But fortunately for you, we're actually told by College Board exactly what they mean by exigence, okay? So in our standards, we have this 1A reading, identify and describe the rhetorical situation. And so what they tell us is the rhetorical situation is collectively, it refers to exigence, purpose, audience, writer, context, and message. And that's it. Okay, that's it. So I love soapstone, but do you see tone on this list? You don't. Okay. Now we still talk about tone because tone's important, but tone's really hard to get when it's writing, like really hard to get sometimes. Think about like with a text message and you're like, girl, you better check your tone. All right. The next one though that you see here is 1B. So 1B, which tells us a little bit more about the rhetorical situation, is exigence. So the exigence is the part of the rhetorical situation that inspires, stimulates, provokes, or prompts the writer to create the text. Okay. Speeches are so much better with tone. Absolutely. I love reading a good speech. So with this, we're told straight up from College Board, this is what we want from exigence, okay? So it's the part that inspires or stimulates or provokes them. It's what drives that action to create the text. It's the so what and why right this second, okay? So 1C, the purpose of the text is what the writer hopes to accomplish with it. They may have more than one purpose in a text. What I love about this right here with 1C and what I want you to walk away with is when we talk about chunking the text, what we're going to see is, and what I hope you see with this cram and with anything you do in any class that you have for AP Lang is that we do not write 5 paragraph essays. Like there, I can't remember the last time I read anything that was actually a 5-paragraph essay that wasn't like a something for one of my students doing in class, right? Because we don't do that in the real world. And so with a text that we put out, we may have an overall purpose, but each chunk generally serves its own purpose. And so I think that's what's really important here about this idea of 1C. You have 1D. The audience has a shared set of beliefs and an individual set of beliefs, but they also have values and they have needs and they have backgrounds. And any speaker is really going to consider their audience to figure out who am I talking to and what do I hope to achieve from them before they put this text out there. Okay. So absolutely I can. So your Nearpod code is going to be WUENS. And I will launch this for you in self-paced mode too. So when I send the follow-up email, you'll have that. My pleasure. Absolutely. Okay. So the next piece though is audience movement. And that's something that we often ignore. So we're thinking about audience and we're like, oh, well, they're talking to these people. Yeah, we talk to people all the time, but what do we hope to achieve? Like when you're thinking about rhetoric and you're thinking about how to analyze it, you've got to figure those pieces out too. And then 1E, writers create text within a particular context that includes the time, the place, and the occasion. I like to add the social condition here because, for example, you guys were kind of chuckling about the text that I chose for tonight and for the next cram as well. And well, you guys have a bit of a connection to that now. I mean, you might not have 6 weeks ago or 8 weeks ago, but now you're looking at it and you're like, whoa, and you can understand what that context is, what that social element of it is. So I think that's pretty important. Do you feel better about all of this now? It's a lot of vocabulary. I 100% agree. So I love it. It's like you're in my brain. Or did you already peek at the slides? Did you peek at the slides? How would you suggest we lay out the essay? That is the question. I have that answer for you here too. So we're going to look at it. All right. So when you look at this, what I want you to see is the aspects are kind of written here, but they're taken from the standards from AP exactly. Okay. So you have audience. They told you to think about the writer and the speaker. Okay. You can kind of go there. Purpose, exigence, context. Now, T, you've probably been told T is topic or T is tone. Tone's not as important. Now, it becomes important when you're looking at things like satire, okay? So has anybody give me a thumbs up? Did anybody do the flamingo prompt? Anybody do the flamingo prompt in your class? Assuming, you know, that you have year long and not like that you just started. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yep. It's like a big inside joke. And a lot of AP Lang teachers make that be the first one. Was that the first one you did? Your teacher loves it. I bet she has flamingo stuff in her classroom. First or second? Yeah. Yes, that happens. And it does. And it's, I'm sorry that you had that experience. It was the most recent one. The thing about that is that it's not like intended to be like taken seriously. Like there's an element of satire there. And because of the fact that you and yes, even me, we weren't alive back then, we don't make that connection. And so AP has actually come out and said that they're not going to do that to us anymore, which is a huge help, I think. So that's what we're looking at down here. So topic and tone, but also the message, and then the strategies. So the starting this year, that is, yes. Well, yes, this year, but also like in the future years. This is like our intermediary year. So yes, we have all these years in the future, but we also have these years for like temporary right now for this year only because it's such a strange situation. So these are the rhetorical aspects. Now, for those of you who are following along with the College Board, you can see that when I made this initially, I used different colors for aspects. So this is what you see on the left. That's what it was to begin with. But then the College Board actually has color-coded stuff. And so I thought, man, just in case you guys are watching the color coding on the College Board, I wanted to come into alignment with that because synthesizing sources, right? It's all about that. So the colors that you see on the right are the actual colors they're using on College Board. And I am going to make an effort to help you guys out and to help myself out. I'm going to change the colors that I've always used to come in alignment with the colors on those live lessons. So, deal? Sweet. All right. So are you ready for your first task? Now, those of you who are using the Nearpod, I got you, girl. Those of you who are using the Nearpod, this is going to be a draw it for you. So you can use your stylus, so you can use your finger. You can add a little text box. Do what you choose. I want you to bat the prompt. Bat means to look at where they give you background, where they give you advice, and where they give you your task. And then I want you to determine what you can about the aspects at this point. Okay? So take just a minute and let that help you out. You guys are great. I love seeing you work through it. Just watching you guys work. It's beautiful. You take about 1 more minute for me? So the question is, what does advice mean? So advice is something that's kind of slowly going away, but advice means what do they tell you to do? So remember a moment ago when we were talking about audience and like you got to know who you're writing to? You got to know who you're writing to, okay? So for example, with this prompt, when we're looking at what the advice is they give you, they don't give you a ton. They give you to read the passage carefully and then to analyze how he uses the rhetorical strategies. But they tell you to characterize scientific research. So that's going to be the advice. Now you know in your brain, you're looking for, okay, scientific research, scientific researchers, what are they? They're characterized as something. I got to figure that out. Oh, I love this. Yes, I got some labels on here. I got some color coding. Y'all making me so happy. Yes. Putting those letters on there. Okay, you ready? So go ahead and hit submit. That's that blue button on the bottom. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Can you hit submit for me? Look at this. It looks like some of you guys are familiar with the prompt. You know what? If you printed it and you were doing it on physical paper, that's totally good. And also, I'm kind of slightly jealous of you because I've never actually needed a printer in my house. And now I'm quarantined in my house and I really wish I had one. Look at you guys. This is great. You own 3. Never needed one before. So crazy, isn't it? You all are brilliant. Printing the paper. So let me show you a little secret. On the bottom of your screen on the left-hand side, do you see the camera? You can totally take a picture of it. If you did it on paper, you can take a picture and I can still see it. Totally great, isn't it? Okay, so look at this one. Here you can see where we've gone through. We looked at the background. It's the Great Influenza. It's an account of the 1918 epidemic. And now in your brain, you probably went 1918. Was this written in 1918? And maybe that's there, but right now we haven't read the text. Well, some of you have, but still. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. She said your entire voice and personality is so calming to me. I'm from Texas, and you remind me of one of my favorite teachers. Oh my goodness. You guys are adorable. Look at y'all. I do love this. I absolutely love you guys. Okay, so that's super cool. All right, so when we look at it and you see what that advice is, we did kind of talk about that already. And then that task is you're looking at the rhetorical strategies. Now, this one is from 2008. So we do see a little bit of a change between then and now, but that's totally okay. So then I love this one. I love the way this one was done. You have your topic, but you've also identified the who, the what, and the how. And that's great because realistically, if you can identify those in the papers, and you're writing your own paper and you can clearly say what that is, it's going to be just great. It's going to help you out with your evidence and your commentary. So you can pull that area up and then you can just tweak a little bit on your sophistication. It's going to be great. So I love the way that you worded that there. And then when we look over here at this one, here's another example. Ta-da! You can see the little parts. You totally like labeled this for us. So I went through and I did it as well. Because every teacher should always do what they ask their students to do, right? So it's kind of small, and I get that. But realistically, what I wanted you to get from this is that kind of for the audience, like I recognized just from the prompt that he was a scientist, that he likes to study research because of what it told me up there in that prompt. And then I know that it's this Barry guy. He seems to know what he's talking about. It also specified that he writes about science and research. So that kind of gave me a big clue. And then his purpose is to characterize scientific research. So that was his purpose. So I'm going to have to look at the chunks and figure out how each small piece builds up to this purpose, because he's probably going to have segments in his writing that support smaller ideas that are going to build together into this big principle. Exigence, I was like, I don't know. I got nothing. I have nothing. But with my context, I knew it was going to be about the 1918 flu. So I started thinking about the context and the exigence a little more. And I thought, why in the world would someone want to talk about the researchers and the science from this angle? And I really started kind of generating questions of myself. So whether like someone said maybe it was personally impacted, absolutely. There's definitely a reason that drove to it. Now, in today's society, we've got this whole pandemic thing. So I thought, man, what if this was written in 1918? That's one possibility. And then in my brain, I kept thinking, and I thought, what if it wasn't in that one? What if it was in one of the other things? Like, what if it was the Ebola thing or like the whole H1N1? Like, what if it was some other flu? And then I thought, how am I going to know? Because it didn't tell me. But then I realized that when I read the passage, I can tell if it's like an old dead guy or not, right? Are you with me? Like, I don't mean to be rude, but when you read it, can you kind of tell it's an old dead guy? Yeah? Give me a thumbs up on that one. Like, Kirk calls it like it is, y'all. Life lessons with Kirk. You can tell if it's an old dead guy. And if it's an old dead guy, then it might have been written a long time ago. But if it's a little bit more modern writing, then maybe it's obviously not the pandemic because it's, from the year on it is 2008, but it's something between 1918 and 2008. And how that is written is going to give me a huge indication of what that is. So that last piece would be that topic and tone. Well, obviously, it's talking about the role of a scientist. And I thought maybe to stop it, like maybe to try to stop a new flu or a new thing from spreading. Maybe it's trying to get people to vaccinate their babies. I don't know. Okay. So Someone asked, do you think that we should do this every time? And I'm going to say yes, because AP Lang in the last couple of years, as it's been slowly tweaking, has really done a much better job about giving you everything you need to be successful from the get-go. So if you can start with this process, now you're only going to have 45 minutes, which technically they say 40 minutes to write an essay is their recommended amount. So for the topic, it is the role of the scientist, like in terms of to stop it. So with that said, what we want to look at in how fast to do that is I actually recommend that my students spend a total of 8 minutes to bat the prompt, which is going to include this, and to come up with your working thesis. 8 minutes. But I think you can do it. And if you keep practicing like this, it's going to get better and faster for you. So is that super cool? Serious question. Are you guys going to be terribly upset with me if I sometimes put the passage out and think maybe you will have read the prompt before you get here? Is that okay? All right. Well, the next step is actually to read and annotate the text. It's a short text, absolutely. But I would like for you to take the time to go through and read it. So if you guys have like a PDF writer, it's like an online class. I'm sorry. You got it? Uh-oh. Oh, my. I think we have a glitch. Do you guys see it? Can you give me a heads up? Uh-oh. Okay, some of you see it. Oh, no, the glitch has come back. It is weird and stripy. Okay, that's cool. I got you right here. Hold on. I don't know what's up with that. We're going to roll right on through this moment of glitch. Eek. There you go. So for those of you who have it, hopefully it comes back for you. A little more clear? Oh, good. Now I've got a frowny face. Okay, well, you have the link over on the side. And while I sit here and cry for a moment, I'm not really going to cry. You can look at it. You can annotate it. Just take a minute to just kind of go through it. You don't have to read the whole thing in great detail right now. I just want you to kind of scan it and have some ideas. And then we're going to talk about what I want you to do with this text for the next time. So disappointing. Look at you guys over here. Y'all are great. Did the link not work? Let's see if you hit the link. Yeah, so the link in the chat works for you guys. That's good. Yeah, definitely uses analogy. I see the metaphor. Absolutely. Hey, if you're not sure what the name is, don't call it my name, okay? He uses a thrifty comparison of blank to blank. All right. So you guys kind of got through it? Got some ideas? You kind of see where it's going? Okay. Absolutely. And you know what I love about the rhetorical questions here? First of all, has your teacher told you don't write about rhetorical questions? Like whatever you do not write an essay about he uses ethos, logos, and pathos, and don't talk about rhetorical questions. Have you heard that? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's because when you're reading these essays, you're like, there's so much more than ethos. Like, really, what does he do to create that ethos? Or what is done to build that logical appeal? The opposite, actually? Okay. Well, I would tell you that AP College Board actually recommends that you not write about the Holy Trinity like that. Now, you can talk about, you can say he creates a logical appeal through the use of anaphora, which repeats these ideas. You can definitely do that. All right, so now that you've kind of gone through the text, this is just kind of an example to let you see how mine changed, like how my process changed. So I realize it's a little bit small, but that's okay for you. You can kind of look at it on your screen and just see that there is a difference in the color here. So what I did is the pink letters, those are those standards that I pointed out to you at the beginning when I said, here's what AP wants from you. This is exactly where you see those connect. The next piece would be the change in the color, which is very subtle. I recognize seeing it on the big screen. But that kind of helps you because you're able to go through and see the way that your brain processed it and how you added to it and what changed or what didn't change. So that's a huge help. So the first one, the audience, I noticed that it was generalized audience. And the reason that I think that is because he speaks in known words and he has no real jargon. So did you guys feel like he was an old dead guy? Or did you feel like he's probably just an old guy? Yeah, he definitely does not write like an old dead guy. Like it's obviously an older text, but not someone who's like certainly dead, okay? I mean, obviously he could be, but realistically, he's just writing like an old guy. So that tells us this is not directly from the 1918 situation. So then I have movement in a circle. And the reason I have movement in a circle is because remember how I talked about like the duplicity or the multiplicity of audience? It's not just those little pieces here. We want to see the audience and the audience movement. So remember when I said you got to know who you're talking to and you got to know what you hope to achieve by talking to them? With this, you see that. He wants them to think of the challenges of the scientist. He wants them to maybe think of the scientist as a hero. Did anybody, are you with me? Like, give me a thumbs up. Did you kind of get the impression that he wanted you to see that scientists have to do things like the author is still alive. He's in his 70s. She looked it up. Okay. A little bit heroic. Absolutely. So what we want to kind of do then is kind of jump down to that next piece. So the speaker, he knows it. It seems like he's done some research on it. I agree. He does seem to like idolize them a little bit. I have a question about the multiplicity and the duplicity. When we're talking about to be more clear, when we're talking about audience, there are multiple parts with audience that you want to consider. It's not just to who you are directing your speech or to whom you're directing your conversation. It is the shared beliefs and the shared values that you have with your audience, and it is the desired audience movement. Okay. So looking up the author, would that be okay on the exam? Probably, as long as you had like a reputable resource. So. But that's a great question, Rachel. This is so new. No one's ever been able to look anything up. Like you guys can't even have highlighters on the exam. And now you got this. Couldn't looking up a 30-second biography help with, maybe. I think I'm going to reach out and just ask for some clarification on that because I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to communicate we are onto something. Leave it to you guys to find your loophole. I think what they're trying to communicate is they're not going to try to stop you because they really can't stop you, especially if you're taking it on your own computer or in your own house. But I guess it's just how much time you would want to do with that. This is so unlike an AP exam. It is critical thinking skills, but it's also application of the skills of rhetoric and argumentation. So, all right, looking down at that next piece, you got your purpose. Actually, with the speaker, I was thinking about he obviously has done some kind of research. No cheating, but we have all the tools to cheat. Yeah, that's true. Welcome to real life. I'm going to quote a wonderful, brilliant woman. Her name is Heather Mounts, and she said, "Who would know? This would be our narrative." This is our narrative, y'all. All right. So the next piece would be how the speaker kind of communicates. How do I know that he knows it? Well, I know that the speaker is knowledgeable of the topic because he uses quotes, he uses examples, and he gives experience that says, hey, I know what this is about. So right there with it. Yes. Okay. So the comment was College Board will make us take the exam using a secure browser, and you absolutely will. They've already communicated that, and they're trying to get that done in advance so you guys can practice logging on, withdrawing your, like taking and opening your questions and then applying them and putting them back. So someone said I have a second laptop, and that's cool and all, but you do have to submit on the exact same device that you draw your, that you open it from. You guys don't get busted, okay? I really want you to get college credit for this. And this could be a great year for you. All right, and so moving down that next piece, the exigence. Now the exigence, remember I started that when I was like, I don't know, I got nothing. But I realized there's a medical situation. Maybe it's the spread of the flu. Maybe it's, I know that in 2008, I know that, yeah, we're all clearly professionals here. I know that in 2008, there were some flu strands that were kind of a big deal before. And I also know just from analyzing the prompts that the students have been given, they're almost always pretty relevant culturally, like within the last couple of years. So that kind of helps you out a little bit there. And then with the context, it's about the 1918 flu. But in terms of looking at the time and the place and the occasion, really with this particular prompt, you're kind of there to figure it out on your own. So you've got to recognize that A, it's not an old dead guy, and B, something has motivated this person to write about the way that you think about scientists. So that gives you a big hint about it. And then think about what it is. No, I'm not saying that coronavirus or unemployment are going to be your topic. I'm not going to say that at all because I don't know that. But what I'm saying is they tend to kind of use relevant topics that are out there, and that if you think about it, like things like, for example, the monuments prompt. Have you guys done the monuments prompt in your schools? Yeah, well, that happened too, didn't it? So you can kind of see that there's the connection with that. Nope. Well, let me just make a note to use the monument prompt here. All right. So that last piece would be where you're talking about the topic and the tone or the message. And that's going to be the role of the scientist. And I think that he's probably got a problem that everybody's looking for the scientist to stop the problem, to stop a flu, but maybe they don't have it. And he seems very optimistic, even when he's like, a scientist has to get used to failure. A scientist has to get used to uncertainty. So you can kind of see that. All right, so the question is, what exactly is the difference between the message and the purpose? So when you think about message and purpose, in general, you want to think about what is he saying and why is that being said? So your message is going to communicate what your topic is. So in this case, he is talking about a scientist. He's talking about the things that we have to look at the challenges that a scientist actually faces. But what is his purpose of doing that? What does he want us to do? Well, he wants us to think about a scientist as a hero. Nowhere in there does it say, I want you to start thinking about the scientist as a hero. But you figure out what that purpose is. So you probably learned, like way back in the day, that purpose was to perform or to persuade, to entertain, and to inform, like purpose pie. So with those elements, you always want to think about the in order too. With this, oftentimes you're going to see that we're looking at a purpose to persuade to do something. There's always audience movement in a text they're giving you for AP Lang, okay? But it may appear that it is to inform. And that's going to be where your difference in your message and your purpose comes from. So I hope that helped. All right, another question I have. Did you say not to focus on ethos, pathos, and logos at all, or not for the entire essay? So I would say address those in passing. You don't want to look at, I got you, Andrew, hold on one second. When you are writing your essay, you don't want to say the author uses ethos when the author used pathos when the author used logos whenever. It's okay to talk about the way the author builds, credibility and the way that the author approaches a logical appeal or logical reasoning, but it becomes very low level because ethos, logos, and pathos is something that is in the standards for like, 5th grade for Common Core standards. And so you want to think about making sure that you bring that up. All right, so Andrew said, what does the 1D, 1C, 1B, and 1E say? What does that mean? That's actually a direct connection right back here to this guy right here. Any second now, okay? These are the standards from College Board. So if your teacher had adopted the units, you probably have seen these. And the next question was, okay, so this is all great and everything, but what do I do to get the sophistication point? We're going to look at the sophistication point in great detail kind of as we go through this cram. But realistically, when we look at what we're doing for this section of the text, I want to kind of make sure that we are breaking it down first. Is there a new rubric? In APUSH there is. In Lang there is not. No, there's not. APUSH is different because they eliminated parts of the test in and of itself. So we will look at the rubric, but it is going to be the same one. Okay, so are you ready for the next piece? All right. So the next piece is your ability to identify and explain the claims and the evidence that are built within an argument. Okay. So in this particular text, it sounds like I'm talking about argument when I say this, but what you've got to be able to do is to recognize, okay, what is Barry like? What's his primary claim? And what is his evidence that supports his primary claim? So if his thing is scientists should be thought of as a hero, then what is the evidence that supports it? Okay. So quick question, just to help me plan for our next couple of sessions. How would you rate your ability? How would you rate your ability? 1, I have nothing. Or 5, I totally have this. Somewhere in between. So a question just popped up. Should I start memorizing rhetorical devices as like a list? And I'm going to say no. I wouldn't do that. Nikki, the code is WUEN. Natalie had my back. You're so good. We're such a family here. Aren't we a family? All right. You guys can see the results and kind of see what this looks like for you. So that's pretty cool. All right. So I'm going to jump ahead just a little bit just because I want to like honor your time and be mindful of your time as we move forward. So don't answer this question because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to jump ahead and I wanted to address the writing aspect of it. Okay. So, okay, we'll see ya. Absolutely stay home, stay quarantined. Got you. All right. So when you're writing, you're developing a paragraph that includes a claim and the evidence supporting the claim. So when I talk about the argumentation aspect of what you're going to write, what you need to think in your brain is that your claim about this person's claim and your evidence about this person's evidence. That's what you're doing. So realistically, I got you. Realistically, what you're looking at here is making sure that you're including all of those argument pieces. Okay. So that said, this is kind of the last thing that I want you to look at for today. Your standard outline is your introduction with your thesis statement and then a body paragraph. And you guys have used whatever method you have, but it all comes down to a topic sentence, concrete detail or some kind of evidence, commentary and analysis, a concrete detail, commentary and analysis, and the concluding statement, right? You with me, aren't you? Absolutely, you are. Well, so here's the real thing. Like, no one writes like that in the real world. No one does. And so I don't want you to think that way when we're talking about these essays kind of as we move forward. All right. So a generalized format of what I want you to do is find the natural chunks in the text. Okay. So between now and next Thursday, try to find the natural chunks in the text. Generalized format, we're talking like Aristotle, Cicero, all those really, really, really smart guys. Introduction and background, position and proof, refutation and concession if you find it necessary, and then conclusion. So think about the purpose and the choices that are made by each chunk and the impact that they have on the overall meaning. So your question a little bit ago about purpose versus meaning, we're going to look at that when we come back next Thursday, okay? So you're going to go through the text, which you've already done a quick read, but now you're going to look at it a second time. You're going to find the natural chunks. Just draw a line underneath it so you can see that difference. Know the general format of every argument: introduction, background, position, proof, refutation, concession, and conclusion. See what you can come up with. And then a quick question just popped up. Should we write an outline during the exam? I'm a huge proponent of the Toby. You write down your thesis statement, you outline your bullet points, and you give a big idea. And that way, when your brain lapses on you and you have like a little, it'll help you out in the long run. So I'm a huge fan of that. All right. So that said, before the next time, I want you to go through and I want you to reread it. And then just to make sure that we're ready for the next one, the second part of that Fiveable worksheet is a strategy analysis. What does he do? How does he do it? And why does he do it? Or what is the audience impact? Okay. Can you do those two things for me? Reread it so that you divide it into the chunks and then start looking at the strategies. Can you do that for me? Sweet. Y'all are the best. All right. So here we are. Our learning intention. Do you guys feel like you can explain the structure and the organization of the test? Can you give me a thumbs up? Yes. All right. Do you feel like you have a plan to really utilize Fiveable crams before the test? Sweet. You guys make me so happy. My heart is full. All right, the last one. This was the most challenging one for tonight, okay? I can analyze the rhetorical aspects of a given text. So just what we did tonight, looking at the aspects. Do you think you can handle that? For the most part? Absolutely. Hey, listen, you're going to get better the more you do it. I promise. I absolutely promise you that. Okay. In that case, you guys are great. I love you so much. I do want to know if you have anything for me. You guys are good to go. I love you. Bless you, my children. I look forward to seeing you next week. If you have a question for me, you're welcome to put it on the collaborate board. And then I will get those questions and I will look at them and I will answer them for our next lesson. Hey, all that said, you guys, I hope you had a wonderful time tonight. I'm going to leave it open on the screen for you so that you guys can go through and do it. And I'll give your feedback to you as you kind of go through and look at it. But I really do thank you so much for coming tonight. And I'm going to sign out here. You guys have a great night. I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Look for that email. It'll come to you tomorrow. And then next Thursday, we'll be here, but not here. Next Thursday, 9 p.m., Cram number 2. Bye, you guys.